Images have the power to transcend language, boundaries, and cultures. In sport, too, images capture something that's very real, the truth, a reality, and a moment that is etched in sporting history. To capture that precise moment is tough enough, but to be able to do it when you've got a car whizzing past you at 300 kilometers per hour, a boxer landing a punch in the blink of an eye, a bowler hurling a ball down at 90 miles per hour, or Usain Bolt running down the track covering 100 meters in less than 10 seconds, that is something quite special. And that is what we are here to celebrate today at Man's Life. We're here to celebrate the men and women that spend every day of their lives capturing these iconic moments, and we're going to take you through the lens with each of our photographers.
Three decades, 5 Olympic Games, 14 cricket tours, 30 grand finals, and thousands of other events. Phil Hillyard is a man who has traveled the world with his lenses in hand, capturing some of the most iconic moments in sporting history. Today, though, at Man's Life, we're here to relive each and every one of those moments through his eyes, through his lenses as well, and rekindle memories of some of the greatest moments in sport. Phil Hillyard, welcome to Through the Lens.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me on.
Firstly, Phil, we've got to start with how your journey began. Where did you enter the world of sports photography from?
I guess I was pretty lucky, to be honest. I came up with the idea when I was about a 13-year-old kid. Always addicted to sport and wanted to play sport and played all sport. But probably at some point realised I might not make it to the top. I just came up with the idea, why don't I take pictures and get on the sidelines at all the events. And from that age, I had a camera. My mother bought me a camera when I was 13, and I followed the newspapers and the sports photography, and then I basically just set out to do it. I studied it at school, and then at 15, I think I did work experience in the newspaper, and then I guess I just pestered those people and eventually landed a job straight from school.
How is sports photography, in your mind, different to other forms of photography? Because it does take a special eye to capture moments where a car is whizzing past at 300 Ks or Usain Bolt's running down the stretch at 100 meters in under 10 seconds.
I guess we only get one chance. There's no replays for me. The journalists are sitting up in the press box and they miss a wicket in cricket and they just watch the replay screen. They can type about it. Well, I don't have that luxury. And, when the big moments happen, I guess I'm expected to be on the ball and capture those moments.
When you're on the field, Phil, in some sense, do you almost try to predict what's going to happen to make sure you're ready for the perfect shot to be in the right spot as well?
Oh, you certainly do. Like, a lot of sports photography is anticipating the action and you're trying to put yourself in the best possible position to capture those moments. But at the end of the day, we don't really actually know because it hasn't happened. So you have to be ready to adapt. And, I often say it, expect the unexpected. And, before you know it, a test match that was looking headed for a draw can all of a sudden turn into a victory and the whole nation's captivated by it. It's going to sit on the front pages the next day. Your job is to nail that, telling moment in one single image.
And you certainly nailed a few of those moments as well, including Glenn McGrath's 500. So just talk us through that a little bit, because you were there for number 500 for Pigeon. Did you anticipate that coming through?
Yeah, that's a pretty funny story, that one. That was the start of the Ashes tour of 05, and he went into the series. He was 499 as the series began. And so immediately we had a milestone to capture, and it was going to be at Lord's. So I went and positioned a remote camera up at the far end at Lord's, and I put a wide lens on it so I could have the beautiful members pavilion in the background. I positioned it on the left side because the two opening batsmen were left-handers for England, and Glenn McGrath always bowls from the pavilion, and I thought surely he's going to get one of those two in for his 500th.
Yeah.
But we won the toss and batted. So I walked up to take the camera down, and as I got up there, I stopped and thought, funny game, cricket, you never know, I'll just leave it there all day, and I left it there. So for 3/4 of the day, that camera did nothing. Australia got bowled out on the first day, and there were 17 wickets taken on that first day of the 2005 series. Glenn Mcgrath got his 500th. I can't remember if it was Trescothick or Strauss now, to be honest. But it was caught by Langer. The ball went into the air, and we made that picture on the remote. Glenn Mcgrath went on to get 5 wickets that day, and 17 wickets fell on the opening day, which was just unbelievable. So it goes to show, you can do all that planning, but you never know. But I kind of you never know with cricket. So I kept the camera there, and that picture's there forever now.
We've gone through your stable of images and we found it so hard to pick just a few, but we've picked a few gems, Phil, and we'd love for you to take us through the lens and actually talk us through each of these moments. And we're going to start with a very, very popular one. You talked about how you'd love to follow Virat Kohli over a year, and we're starting with this series of Virat Kohli from Down Under back in 2018. Just talk us through these set of images, because very unique the way that Virat Kohli went about his training that day.
He certainly did, and I guess whenever I attacked the cricket tour, whether that was overseas or back in my home country, I always targeted's not the word, but I always really focused on that key player of the opposition, and Kohli's a superstar. And so I was watching him pretty closely this day at training, and he went up the other end to have a few throwdowns, which is always good for us as photographers because you're going to get a clear look at him. He had the guns out, the singlet on, and he sort of walked over and moved the net out the way. And I thought, what's he doing here? And he sort of hammered the peg in, and then he stood off the pitch and taking some throwdowns, some little off spinners, and I twigged straight away. He's practicing for Nathan Lyon when Mitchell Stark's bowling over the wicket and the foot marks. And I've never seen it before. Like, I've covered cricket for 30 years and I've never seen anybody try and do that in a training situation, which it seems pretty obvious that it's a good thing to try.
Yeah, it's quite a unique one as well, because he ended up being the third highest run getter in that test series. He did counter Nathan Lyon a little bit as well. And let's move from one who could be the greatest of all time at some stage to the greatest of all time, perhaps, on the Olympic tracks, and that is Usain Bolt. The intensity of this picture, this close-up image, really struck me, Phil. Just talk us through when this was, which Olympics, and whether it was actually before the race or after as well.
Yeah, it was the last Olympics in 2016 at Rio. I've got some wonderful images of him celebrating, the euphoria of there's nothing like covering a 100-metre final, the hush that goes over the stadium. You get goosebumps, the hair stand up on your arm. And the next day, he's won the 100 and he's straight into the 200-metre heats. I've gone around side on to not only do a side on picture of him just in a heat, but it was the one chance I could do to get in close to try and get a study of this great man, because they go up through the mix zone and they're going to be stationary for a bit. There's going to be a little bit of TV light on them, and you can try and get a portrait. And I shot him going past me, and then ran up to the end of the straight to be first to this position to get it. And it was in the day, there was a bit of heat, so he was sort of beating sweat. And it was, to me, I was pretty happy getting the picture, and I don't think I've seen another one like it. So it's nice to know I've got something unique of one of the greatest, which will be there forever. And I think it's a powerful image of him.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a super powerful image. And for us, that's what struck us as well. And we're going to move now from, again, the Olympic tracks back to cricket and back to Chennai. You said you love the city, and there's an iconic moment in history, and that was at the historic test in Chennai in 2001. Steve Waugh, with Australia at 340 for 3, handled the ball, only the 6th batsman in test history to be out handling the ball. What was going through your mind as an Australian? What are the emotions? Were you puzzled with that move from Steve because he just swept the ball, ended up handling it, and then Australia just collapsed and actually ended up losing that test?
Actually, at the time, I remember it very well because I was feeling pretty unwell at the time in the Chennai heat. Sometimes it takes its toll on you. We're out there all day, and I remember just feeling not so great. And I'd actually phoned the fitness trainer in the Australian team, and he came out, bought me a banana and some salts, and tried to get me sort of focused again. And no sooner had he walked off, Steve's played this shot and went right up into the air, hit the pitch, and then spinning back. And what actually made me react was I actually heard Matthew Hayden at the non-strikers end yell out something to Steve Waugh, like, look out. And it made me react, and Steve just leant over and put the hand to the ball. And Steve and I have done some talks together over the years, and this picture often comes up, and he hates the picture. Nothing that he likes about it. And He still thinks
Understandably.
he still thinks I didn't quite get it right because his hand's not quite on the ball, and it was something that had only happened a few times in the history of Test cricket, and one of those I could have been at the other end and got nothing.
Yeah.
Luck sometimes does run your way in sport, and I was lucky that was one of those occasions, and the only one on the ground to get that picture, so it sits on the front pages back here in Australia.
Yeah, I saw it in India as well. I was actually in the stands in Chennai watching that test, but it was a moment that had us all puzzled. And Phil, thanks so much for taking us through your images, through some incredible, iconic moments in history that for us are etched in our minds as well. And it's been quite magical to take it through your lenses and actually understand what went through the moment for you as well. So thanks so much.
No worries. Thanks for having me. It's been great talking about it and reminiscing about so many good times.
Yeah, we look forward to many more from you as well, Phil. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we've got so much more content coming your way. Head across to manslife.in for all the content from the world of auto, sport, lifestyle and entertainment.